When I first met Emily, she was the kind of woman who could quiet a room without saying a word. We met in college, fell in love fast, and after nearly 8 years together, including 5 years of marriage, I thought I knew her inside and out. We weren't perfect, but who is? Our life together was built on quiet routines, work, dinner, Netflix, occasional road trips, and plans for a future home somewhere in the suburbs. Nothing extravagant, just us against the world. I work in IT support for a mid-size firm. Long hours, sometimes thankless, but it paid well enough, and I took pride in being the reliable one. Emily taught high school English. She was passionate about her students, loved literature, and always came home with some amusing classroom story. For the longest time, I considered myself lucky. She laughed at my lame jokes, brought me coffee in the morning, and I always thought we communicated better than most couples I knew. But over the past few months, things started to feel off. Subtle at first. She started spending more time on her phone, smiling at messages she wouldn't share. She set a new passcode, which she'd never done before. When I asked about it, she just brushed it off with, "Just being safe, work stuff, you know how kids are." And maybe that was true. Maybe I didn't want to seem controlling. So I let it go. Then there were the late nights. "Grading papers," she'd say. "Don't wait up." I trusted her, of course I did. We'd been together for nearly a decade. I didn't want to be that guy who questions every little thing. But in the back of my mind, a voice had started whispering, "Something's not right." I tried to push it away. I chalked it up to stress, to seasonal depression, to work fatigue. We stopped having those easy conversations in bed before sleep. Physical intimacy became rare. She seemed distracted when we were together, always half absorbed in something else. I'd catch her smiling at her phone, and when I'd ask, "Who's that?" she'd say, "Just Amy from work," or "One of the other teachers." Maybe I should have pushed harder. Maybe I should have asked the hard questions then. But when you love someone, really love them, it's incredible what you can convince yourself of. I still made her coffee in the morning. I still kissed her goodbye before heading to the office. I still looked at her and saw the woman I fell in love with. I believed we were just going through a rough patch. What I didn't realize was that Emily had started to drift, quietly, gradually, into a world where I wasn't included. And the worst part, I handed her the benefit of the doubt every single time, until the night I came home early, until the moment everything unraveled with just one overheard sentence. It was a Thursday. I got off work 2 hours early because a system update finished ahead of schedule. I thought about calling Emily on my way home, but figured I'd surprise her instead. Maybe grab takeout, make a night of it. We hadn't had one of those in a while. I parked quietly, didn't slam the door, didn't announce myself. The house was dim, only the kitchen light was on. I heard her voice before I even stepped inside. She was laughing, really laughing, the kind I hadn't heard from her in weeks. My first instinct was to smile. Maybe she was talking to a friend or watching something funny. But then I heard it. A name. "Chris." The laugh again. A pause. "No, you always made me feel like that." Her voice dropped low, tender. I froze. I wasn't supposed to hear this, but I couldn't move. "I think about that night all the time. You were the only one who ever made me feel seen." My stomach turned. I stepped closer, each word hitting harder. "No, he doesn't know. He's always so busy with work. It's easy to hide." I felt like I was watching someone else's life fall apart. I didn't burst in. I didn't shout. I stood there, hand on the wall, listening like a stranger outside his own home. When I finally walked in, she didn't hear me at first. Her back was turned, phone pressed to her cheek, a small smile still on her lips. "I miss you too." That was the last thing she said before she noticed me standing there. Her face drained of colour. She dropped the phone like it burned her. It's not what you think." I didn't respond. I just stared at her. Her mouth opened and closed, but the words didn't come. Finally, she said, "It was just a conversation." I asked her who Chris was. She hesitated, then said, "My ex. From college." I knew the name. She'd mentioned him once, years ago, said he broke her heart. She told me I was the one who helped her heal. I remembered believing that. She started rambling. "He messaged me a few months ago. I didn't respond at first. It was just curiosity. Then we started talking. I don't know how it got like this." I asked her flatly if she loved him. She said nothing, just looked down at her hands. I felt something inside me twist. I wanted to scream, throw something, break the silence, but I didn't. I just stood there. She finally whispered, "I didn't mean to hurt you." I walked past her, picked up the phone from the floor, looked at the open messages. Everything was there, months of texts, pictures, memories shared without me. I didn't say anything else. I left the room and sat alone in the dark, the kind of quiet that feels louder than any shouting ever could. She followed me into the living room, eyes wide with panic. I didn't look at her. I just asked one thing. "Did you sleep with him?" There was a pause, just a second too long. That second told me more than any word could. "No," she said finally. "It wasn't physical." Her voice was shaking, almost pleading. "I swear it was just talking. It got emotional, but that's all." I asked her why she hid it, why she kept his name from me, why she didn't come to me when things got hard. She sat down across from me like her legs could no longer hold her. "I don't know. I felt disconnected. You were always working. I didn't feel like myself anymore." And then Chris messaged me. It started small, just catching up. It made me feel seen again. I felt a bitter laugh rise in my throat. "So, while I was at work trying to keep our life going, you were texting your ex about how much you missed being with him." She started crying. "It wasn't like that. I didn't plan for it to happen. I was just lonely." I asked if she loved him. She didn't answer, just wiped her face and looked away. That silence hit harder than if she'd said yes. I took her phone and opened the messages again. There was nothing graphic. But it didn't need to be. The intimacy in the words was worse. She told him things I hadn't heard in years, memories from their past, jokes they used to share, comments about our marriage, about me. One message said, "Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd stayed with you." I handed her the phone and stood up. I told her I couldn't do this right now. She tried to stop me. "Please, just talk to me." "I am talking. You just don't like what I'm saying." She begged me not to leave, said we could fix it, that she would block him, delete everything, go to counselling. She said it was a mistake, a terrible one, but not unforgivable. I looked at her, and all I could think about was how familiar her face was, and how much it now felt like a stranger's. "I don't know if I can trust you again," I said, "because I didn't even see it coming. And you let me go on every day like nothing was wrong." She didn't argue. She just cried, and I hated that a part of me still hurt seeing her like that. I told her I needed time, maybe space. She nodded through tears. That night I slept on the couch, wide awake, with a million questions and not a single answer I believed. The next morning, the house was quiet. She left for work without saying much. I stayed behind, still processing everything. The woman I thought I knew had been hiding a part of her life from me, one she willingly shared with someone she claimed to be over. I kept asking myself how it got to this point. Was I blind, too trusting, or just too distracted to notice? I didn't go into the office. I couldn't focus, couldn't pretend everything was normal. Instead, I scrolled through our old photos, looked at vacations, birthdays, the ordinary snapshots of a life I thought was solid. None of it felt real anymore. Later that day, I called a close friend, someone who knew both of us but had no reason to pick sides. I told him everything. He listened quietly, then said, "You don't have to make any decisions right now, but don't ignore what you're feeling just to keep things together." Those words stuck. I kept thinking about how I'd always tried to be the stable one, the guy who never walked away, never raised his voice, never made her feel like she had to wonder where I stood. And yet here I was, wondering who I'd been living with all this time. She texted me in the afternoon. Just one message: "I'm sorry, I love you, I'll do whatever it takes." I didn't respond, not because I didn't feel anything, but because I felt too much. That night I started packing a bag, not because I was leaving for good, but because I needed distance. She came home as I zipped it up. Her face crumbled. "Please don't go." I told her this wasn't punishment. It was about clarity, about stepping back and deciding what I needed, not what she wanted. She offered therapy again, offered to cut off contact with Chris, even show me every message. I told her trust doesn't rebuild on demands or desperation. It takes consistency, time, honesty, none of which I had from her when it mattered. She asked if there was still hope. I told her I didn't know. I wasn't going to lie to comfort her. At the hotel, alone with my thoughts, I didn't feel relief. I felt grief, like something had died quietly between us, and now I had to figure out if it could ever be brought back. I remembered the version of her that laughed at my jokes, held my hand in public, cried during sappy movies. I didn't know if that version still existed, or if I had just seen what I wanted to see. Some part of me still loved her. That was the hardest part. But love isn't always enough. Not when it's built on half-truths and hidden conversations. Maybe we'll fix it. Maybe we won't. But I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to lose myself trying to hold together something she was willing to risk for a taste of the past.